home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. This is special. We're having tea here today. We're at Gertrude. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. I have Raven scratch-offs to give away. We're going to have these next Wednesday as well at Fabley's. I think by the time we get to Amici's on the 17th and then on the 18th at Costas and Dundalk, we'll have some peppermint scratch-offs. They don't smell like peppermint. They don't smell like this delicious iced or hot tea I'm going to have here. It's freezing today. We're at the BMA. We're inside. We're beautiful. Gertrude's at the BMA. We had some great guests. Dan Rodricks came by talking about his show, Baltimore, You Have No Idea, as well as John Shields, who's the proprietor of Gertrude's. I learned the history of Gertrude's. I had 7 fishes. We talked crab cakes. We talked Trump. We talked politics. We talked Baltimore. Now we're going to talk about more Baltimore things. Stacey Munsell has been my friend since back when she worked at the Baltimore Magazine. She is now at another magazine. I'm going to allow her to talk about that. But we're going to talk about ink and numbers, which... yeah, I've done a lot of networking. I've been out for years trying to improve my business. You sell for a living. We all try to sell to people. Your networking organization is a little different, though, and you came to me a couple months ago. I said, I want to have you on the show to talk about this so I better understand it, because our audience is 36% female these days. I'm proud of that. We have a lot of ladies that do listen, and I bump into people like you who weren't necessarily nasty Nestor sports people or whatever, but I've mixed things up here a little bit. So, Stacey, great to have you on. Welcome for some iced tea or hot tea, I should say, here at Gertrude's.
It's cold.
How's life? Good?
Life is good.
We're getting ready for the holidays.
Yes.
What is ink and numbers for our audience?
So Ink and Numbers is, we like to call it a ladies' professional engagement company, because we are networking. However, we really just want to engage ladies and connect to ladies professionally and personally. And that's what we do. And our name is Ink and Numbers. Sounds strange. However, I am in advertising and printing, and that's the ink. And my partner, Lisa Carmichael, is in accounting. So that's the numbers part.
Well, I think the notion of women banding together here started probably with Trump and pink hats 8 years ago. But I think it's really healthy. I don't know what else to say. Like, I walk into a lot of these rooms, and there are some women, but we say it's a man's world or whatever, but I've been doing this a long time. Men have been traditionally running the city, running businesses and all this, and I always feel like, what would it be like to be one of 5 women in a room with 100 men, at various points, right? And I know you've walked into those rooms at various points.
I have.
And I hope it's getting more balanced as you and I get a little younger.
We are getting younger.
But it is different than maybe it was 20 years ago, and I think it's made different. And I know a lot of ladies that I see at various Accelerant or any of the events we see each other to think that there's a thing where I'm not invited because I have a beard. But when did this start? And give me the genesis of the idea, because I guess it probably did start as, well, we have a challenge here. There's I don't have a ladies group that I can join, or maybe you found one and said, we're going to start our own.
Yeah, well, it kind of started by accident and organically. So Lisa and myself were having happy hour, having a drink. We had both started new positions, and we really wanted to just kind of connect and see what connections we had in common to expand our businesses. And we were like, well, why don't we get some more ladies? We know a lot of ladies. Let's get some more ladies together to network.
How many of you were there to begin with?
Well, it was Lisa and I. And then we said we have a lot of ladies that we could ask to do a happy hour. So we asked some ladies to have happy hour at High Tops, nothing else. We played a little game. They got together. It was about 30. And they said, we got to keep doing this. So Lisa,
Girls' night out.
Girls' night out. So we planned breakfast at the mine in Towson, and Lisa and I both looked at each other after we planned it and paid for the coffee and got the invitation set up and the name tags and said, what are we doing? Let's make this a business.
This is a good idea.
Like, this is great. The ladies love it. So we did that, and we did another event. We started charging, and we actually found the charging was good because people got more engaged and more committed to coming, and people showed up because they were paying to come.
See, now that's a big question, right? The other night I got invited to a networking event, and I like these people. It was an $85 Christmas event on a Tuesday night. I had a car issue. I was going to go either way. My wife and I she had something else she had to do. But I thought that the cost of entry to doing things eliminates people from concerts, ball games, dinners, all sorts of things. There is a $10 price point, $20 price, $50. It was a holiday special. We're going to have heavy apps. I find all of that to just be a barrier to some degree, or just the part, well, if we don't charge anybody anything, they won't. If they don't find value in it, they won't come.
Exactly.
Right. So you're trying to find a happy medium on that.
We are, and we don't charge a lot. I mean, our things range anywhere from $35 to we did a gallon that was $95 because it was a gallon. You got dressed up and you had cocktails, and so it really just depends. But we did find that ladies are more vested when they do put a little bit of money towards it, or their company's putting it towards it, because a lot of them are expensing it, but then they feel like, oh, we have to show up, so they show up. But so we just really, we started to place some value in our events, started to add more things to the events. Instead of just coming for a coffee or just coming for a drink, we started having engaging activities. So this morning we had an event at Sunnyfields on Falls Road. It was a breakfast. We called it a baking event, and we had a baker.
Now my wife wants to come. All right, that's it. She didn't even have any networking to do, but she'll come bake with you.
So we had a young lady, Lauren, that has her own bakery. She came and she did a little, just kind of some tips. You know, you're not supposed to use non-stick coated baking sheets. I did not know that. She said they burn your cookies. They burn them on the bottom and don't cook them inside. So you're just supposed to use aluminum with parchment paper. Had no idea. So she talked a little bit. We had the NEAT method. Susie Renninger talked about how to organize your kitchen. And then we all networked and had some delicious pastries from the corner pantry and coffee, and that was it.
What's the entry to do? People just go to Ink and Numbers, inkandnumbers.com?
Inkandnumbers.com. We post our events usually 2 to 3 months in advance.
Can't be a dude. That's the only rule. Can't be a dude.
You can, though, actually.
You're going to let me come?
So we will.
I'm drinking tea. I feel like, how kind of you to let me come. There's a little My Fair Lady for you. You like that?
We found that as Lisa and I started to do some networking, we're, at our normal networking opportunities for our companies, and men were coming up to us, and they seemed to be some of our biggest supporters, saying, we have a lady to connect you to, and we want to have some ladies from our office come to your events. By the way, when can we come? So we launched an event 2 years ago at the USA Lacrosse Stadium, Game Day. We called it Game Day, and it was for men and women to come and network, and we did like a game atmosphere. We had soft pretzels and popcorn and hot dogs, beer.
Soft pretzels get me every time.
They're the best. Wawa soft pretzels we had. And then, so we did that, and then we added Waffles and Wheels in November, and we did it at BMW, and we did it at Mile 1 this year. So BMW last year, added that co-ed, and we're actually going to do a co-ed event at the Corner Pantry and one at Guilford Hall Brewery. But
I like beer.
Beer's great, but we are a ladies' organization. We added those because it was by popular demand. They wanted to come. So,
were there other ladies' organizations you had seen, been invited to, fell apart, worked for a little while? I'm not a lady. I don't get invited to these. I've talked to you about this for a couple of months, just in that you sell advertising, I sell advertising, we know each other. And you had mentioned this to me. I said, that's kind of an interesting concept of something, dudes have been getting together forever, you know, literally, right? And I think there's CEO groups, and I had Karen Faulkner, my dear friend, on a couple weeks ago talking about leadership peer advisory. I've been invited as a CEO to be a part of, small groups of peer leaders, and your problems and my problems, and we're CEOs and we can't take our problems home and all that. But I think for a ladies' organization, it doesn't seem novel. It just seems like, why wasn't there one that joined before for you?
I don't know. We kind of hit this niche, and we actually asked our ladies. We were at an event, a bourbon tasting, and we said, should we do this? Should we add men, or should we keep it ladies? And everybody said, keep it ladies. So we ended up adding the men's events because we kind of felt the peer pressure because they wanted to attend, so that's fine. But we really have kept it predominantly ladies, and it just works.
Stacey Munsell is our guest. So in the real world, you have a magazine you sell for something sort of like, explain it to me.
I do.
I need to understand. Give me your sales pitch,
I'll give you my sales pitch. So
Professionally,
I work for Today Custom Media, or Today Media Communications. So we do custom publications. So anything from visitor guides to membership guides, directories. So we print the Visit Baltimore Guide, which is amazing, and I saw the advertising for it because it's really promoting
Even if you're from Baltimore, getting the Visit Baltimore Guide, you'll learn things about Baltimore.
You will definitely learn it. I have so many people that just my friends are like, oh, yeah, I've seen that. I like that. Can I use that? I live
downtown, so I used to see it because I lived in a hotel, and you would see it, and my wife would grab it and say, there's all sorts of stuff going on here that we're not aware of, And you worked at Baltimore Magazine for a long time.
I did.
And Baltimore Sun, I had Dan here. I'm Baltimore. We're all trying to promote great things. When I leave you, I'm going to wrap up the tea. My wife needs the car tonight because she it's cold as hell outside.
It's cold.
She's going down to the tree lighting.
Oh, nice.
Because
Okay.
she loves the Mount Vernon tree lighting. We live downtown. She's like, I want to go down and do the village, doing the village down at the harbor tonight. So there's so many things that come to you maybe on the news or you see it or your timeline or social media, but there's still like a place like a Visit Baltimore kind of thing where it's like that is the meat and potatoes of things that you have the possibilities to do.
Lots of great things to do. So I do a number of visitor guides, some outside of Baltimore, some outside of Maryland, even up to Westchester, New York. So it's fun. It's selling advertising. You get to meet a lot of different people, learn about businesses, develop relationships, and it really works well with actually my Ink and Numbers because they both kind of feed into one another.
How long have you been selling advertising?
A long time.
When did you start at Baltimore Magazine? Because you and I I've been doing 33 years, and I'll come at it honest. I mean, if Dan were here, I told Dan, remember, he took me out for coffee when I was a kid. I was 17 years old. We worked at the paper. When I worked at the paper, we used to make fun of the ad salespeople. We didn't even know, like, it was dumb. I was a reporter. I was, like, the ego of my byline is the most important. No, the most important thing is the ad that sold, which is how you're getting paid on Friday. And as a kid, I didn't know that. I just thought, I'm great, my byline and my stories and the ad, the tire ad or the bar ad or the Sunday ads or the classified ads. And at the paper, that dried up. So I'm 17, 18, 19 in the late 80s. When I started doing this in 1991, radio advertising, I didn't even realize there was such a thing. I listened to the radio. I didn't even know where the ads came from or who sold them or any of that. And it's taken me on a journey over 33 years about the whole operation, having run a radio station and had employees and had sales employees and content and hiring and firing. I saw Rob Long here earlier with Mayor Schmoke. The advertising sales part is a mystery to most people. When people don't even know that I sell the advertising here, and I've sold millions of dollars worth. It's how I exist to be able to get someone like John Shields to say, yeah, I'll advertise with you. Or you deal with this every day, but I am my brand being out in front of it. And I have found it to be a fascinating industry in that 98% of the people who have ever listened to this radio station or see me on social media or follow me have no idea how I make a living. Oh, you just have the radio station. Money must grow off trees. Doesn't work that way, not for Steve Jeppy at Baltimore Magazine, not for your magazine, not for anything. The sales part of it is crucial. 20 years ago, I would have loved to have had you selling for me instead of Baltimore because you knew everybody around town. And I think when it comes time for me to hire someone like you to sell for me, and I don't have that person right now, if you want to apply, send me an email. But there's so much institutional knowledge you have to know that I am frustrated by thinking that there's a 24-year-old salesperson who's going to have any chops to be through what you've been through and what I've been through. And I know when you bring your group together in Ink and Numbers and there's other ladies, younger ladies that are selling anything, advertising, learning your craft and learning how to sell is something that 99% of the world doesn't want to do, can't do, and doesn't really understand. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense. And I think selling has a bad rap a lot of times because you're selling. But what I've learned over the years is I'm not really selling. If I have a good product, I offer to the right people.
I'm helping them.
So you are helping because people need exposure. They need the exposure at the right things, the right places, like your show. And those are the things that are going to work. So if you're just calling everybody and thinking everybody's going to be buy an ad, it's not going to work.
Well,
you need to pick the
as an
people that
example
will.
for me, you had so many people when you worked at Baltimore Magazine. I couldn't call on doctors in Pikesville that do plastic surgery. I couldn't call. There's a million categories, but when I used to look through Baltimore Magazine and say, well, that's a little high. I can't call on Gertrude's. It's not a sports bar, right? Because I was a sports guy, right?
Sports.
So, it was always sort of like, all right, tires. Steve Hennessy, my first partner, would say cars and bars. Cars and bars, that's sports. It was all dudes. It was all white dudes. It was AM radio. I was always turned on by Baltimore Magazine or the Baltimore Sun, these other places that could sell different things than I had the ability to sell because I was so niche sports. I was at Coco's yesterday, one of my great sponsors. Okay. Marcella's over there. When I saw Marcella 3 years ago, I brought the crab cake to her, and she's like, we're not a sports bar. And I'm like, well, there's your first impediment is that you think you have to be involved in sports to advertise with me. Or at least that was for 30 years it was that way. Baltimore Magazine was that way. Tell me what you sell now and how tourism, you mentioned the local magazines and stuff, that stuff still works. People still want to finger through something physical and look at it. It
definitely works.
It absolutely works.
I mean, I think what has happened over the years, because when I started at Baltimore Magazine, that's all there was: print, radio, TV. That's all you could do. Wasn't the digital. There wasn't all that other stuff. And that
you got one of them web pages.
Now,
I remember hearing that at the beginning.
Well, now what is happening? The trend: the web pages are getting busy, and the digital is getting busy. It's still great, but you kind of need all the components. So adding the print where you can actually see it and you can't turn it off and it's right there, seems to sell really well. And especially with these memberships and visitor guides that I do, a lot of it is member based, and they really want to have a name for themselves and support the publication. So one of the things I say with the Visit Baltimore publication is you're supporting Baltimore by doing. We couldn't print this publication without your ad. We have to have some of the ad sale revenues to print. So we can print this amazing publication to help bring more tourists in, but only with your support. So it kind of works both ways. Support the magazine, have this magazine out, bring tourists in, let them come to your businesses. In the turn, you get advertising. It kind of works all hand in hand. So you're not just advertising for us to make money, you're advertising to have a great product that's going to bring visitors in. Because the Visit Baltimore guide goes to me, the Visit Baltimore staff is taking that around the country to show what Baltimore has to offer. So it's just it's a win-win for everybody, I think.
Shout out to Al out there. Stacey Munsell is here. She's Ink and Numbers, putting together a ladies networking organization and a social group, but around literally what you sell. I mean, you sell advertising. So, we compete, I guess, in selling advertising, but I would think in the room that you have there with other ladies, are they all selling something? Is it a sales organization?
No.
Or is it a leadership? Because I would think there are women that just own a business that aren't necessarily on a sales trail or looking for leads, just looking for more exposure and, quite frankly, just a good social outlet. No offense, but I'm not joining a duckpin bowling league right now to make friends, right? In my work, my work and this Baltimore Positive thing is so important to me that when I am out at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at a Hunt Valley Business Forum or at an Accelerant at 6 in the morning, the business is the backbone of, I want you to listen to my show. But at the end of the day, I need to find people that have the ability to support my business in that way, right? And you're the same way.
Sure.
But in a group of ladies like this, I would think there's a million different directions
there's
your
a
group
lot.
goes.
There's a really big mix. I mean, we have business owners, we have people in business development, we have marketing folks, we have just straight sales people. And I think really what it is, some people are looking for that next lead. They're looking for that business. Most of our ladies are looking for that relationship to either get the next business, develop personal. Some of these ladies have been friends and now they go out together. They might just be looking for inspiration. Just kind of, and somebody actually made the comment to me this morning. They said, when we come to these, it just gets us set for the rest of the day. We get excited. We get energy. We find this
awesome.
Positive. We feed off of one another's energy and electricity, and that starts my day. So I think that people come for a number of reasons. It's really just depends, and I think everybody gets something different out of it. But I think all of our ladies get something out of our events.
Some days I do it just to shave and do my hair, and get out of bed, and bathe, and just get out and be like. My wife's like, "Hey, you're going over there? It's cold out." I'm like, "I want to be warm inside." And I said, I'll run into somebody that wants to see me or I want to see.
It's true. It is
true. I see you at 7 o'clock in the morning all the time at these events, right?
And it's also, like you said, with the getting dressed, one of the things we do with the ladies is we'll have some type of theme, sometimes. Like this morning we said, everybody dress a little bit holiday. So people came with some sparkles on and just, it gives you kind of a reason to either get dressed or get out of bed or get going or just
show off my nice Robert Graham shirts is what I do.
That Robert Graham's great. Or to get some just extra motivation. And that just seems what the ladies like. And they like that little bit of engagement and they got some tips about baking and you're on your way.
My wife with the baking, man. Her and her sister, every year during the holidays, she's from New Hampshire. They drive to Vermont to this King Arthur bakery.
Okay.
King Arthur, the flour people.
Yeah.
They have this institutional school, and every year they've gone and they did Queen Amman last year. They did pie crust, how to make perfect pie.
Cool.
2 years.
That's awesome.
So last week, before Thanksgiving, my wife, who wants to cook everything, she said, I'm going to make a pie. And I'm like, it's a lot of work. We can just buy a pie. You're already making a turkey, you're making stuffing, you're making gravy. She made everything from scratch. She made a pie on Saturday. She said, I'm going to make sweet potato pie. And I'm like, all right, pumpkin, fine. it was like we fought over the last piece this
So
morning.
good.
And when she got the last piece out, she was showing me the crust. She's like, look at that layering in that crust. I learned that in school. I
That's
learned that in
so
my
neat.
baking school. You know, I'm like, just give it to me. I want to eat it because it's all buttery and delicious. We're having tea, hot
That's
tea.
awesome.
It's tea hour,
gonna
royal
actually
tea
pour
hour.
my tea.
Pour your tea. Stacey Munsell is
I'm
here.
gonna pour my
She is with
tea.
Ink and Numbers. You can find her at Ink and Numbers. You can find her at Munsell. Her last name, Stacey with an E. She's been my friend. We're LinkedIn. By the way, LinkedIn for me, I'm a LinkedIn Navigator guy, and I've really been trying over the last literally 2 weeks because I'm going into the sales period, end of the year. I do all my soul cleansing this time of year, as well as my tea cleansing. And the LinkedIn part of this place, and you know, I mean, you're an old school salesperson like me. 1995, I wanted to find the marketing head of Acme XYZ company.
There was no LinkedIn.
Good luck. Good luck finding the secretary, the gatekeeper, the money holder, the whatever it was to find that person. And that goes for whether you're looking for PR, communications, marketing, sales, whatever you're looking for. LinkedIn has become, in a world of untrust and lack of credibility, it's become this place where you don't act like a jerk, right? Because you can't, because you're trying to do business, right? It's become this place where when I go out and I see people like you, you'll say, I see you on LinkedIn. And in a professional space, it's become crucial. And I would think if I were starting a Dudes from Dundalk with Long Hair networking event, I would have to use LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn was probably a base for what you're doing with Ink and Numbers.
LinkedIn's a great, I mean, we have our website platform, obviously, but LinkedIn, we post everything on LinkedIn as well. We have a LinkedIn page, which we are trying to grow, but Lisa and myself, between the two of us, we have 6,000 people, followers. So we repost on our LinkedIn. So it just really just spreads the word more. It's definitely essential for our business and to get more people coming and knowing about us. Plus, it's fun to post your events, and everybody wants to see pictures. That's all people want to do. They want to see the pictures. They want to see everybody, and it's just been, LinkedIn's been very good to us, and we need to use it, and we do use it. And we also do Facebook, and we just started an Instagram. So we're using the other platforms, but LinkedIn seems to be the key right now.
Well, it's a professional place.
Yeah, it's
And I'm glad
professional.
it exists.
Yeah.
I mean, in this crazy world of X and, you know, blue skies and Thread, it's all this stuff going on. LinkedIn is it's a really good hub and a base, and it's a great place, I think, to do business and to get your word out and create relationships where there's a better algorithm there that you'll
There
show up
is.
on my timeline next week because we've been together, and then your people will see it. My people say, "Oh, Stacey, stop by, did the show with Nestor. Look at that." So I wind up making friends. Nothing as great as the tea here at Gertrude's. Stacey Munsell is our guest. She is out doing a thing called Ink and Numbers. If you are a lady and you're in the business space, feel free to reach to her and join. What events you got coming up January, February, March? I know you'll be doing some stuff here this winter.
We have some good events coming up. January 8th, we are actually doing one of our co-ed events at the Corner Pantry at 5 o'clock.
I got a theme for you. Ready?
sorry?
It's Elvis's birthday.
It is. That's
Elvis's birthday. I'm just saying.
So our accountant is actually a very big Elvis fan, and
I like him already.
He pointed it out and said, "Oh, you're celebrating Elvis's birthday, so we will probably do something a little fun there for that."
The Love Me Tender. I don't know what it is.
I am not singing, but we will have something there.
Love me tender, love me. I listened to some Elvis yesterday.
I
had
do
my
like Elvis.
random on when I was in the shower, and like Love Me Tender came on when I
that's
was in the
funny.
shower. And I'm like, I don't really feel like Love Me Tender right now in the shower, but it showed up.
My mom was a big Elvis
I
fan,
love
so
Elvis.
we will do something for that. January 17th, we're at the Pendry downtown, the Saginaw
Fancy.
Pendry. Very fancy. We're going to do a breakfast down there, hot chocolate, spiked coffees. It's called a Winter Wonderland, so we're really just going to kind of play up the theme of it's winter. We know it's cold. We know it's January. we're cold. It's January. We don't like it, but let's have fun and drink some coffee and have some hot chocolate. We have a sponsor for that, and that's going to be really fun. We did an event at the Pendry by the pool this summer, and it was a huge hit. Everybody wanted to come to the Pendry and sit by the pool. So now we're the opposite. We're going to come to the Pendry and try to get
I did my
warm.
show at Cooper's because Cooper's one of my clients. We were down there during the Fleet Week.
Okay.
And I had Ron Furman and I had Patrick Russell, the real Fells Point people.
Sure.
And we talked about that Pendry, like in the homicide, you know, like how ratted out that was.
Right.
And we talk about Baltimore positive and and we're sitting here at the BMA. Baltimore kicks ass, man.
Yes.
Baltimore has great, great things. And there's an example of something that wasn't great that's been made great. And we say, well, where's Baltimore getting better? come down to the Pendry, come down to Fells Point, see what we're doing, see what's going on over here at Homewood, see what's happening at a place like the BMA. I mean, you and I travel in these circles. We run into each other. We don't bitch about Baltimore. Baltimore people don't bitch about Baltimore. That happens on the news. We just go where we're going.
We just do
My
it,
wife's
and
going down to the tree lighting tonight. She ain't worried about this or that or
Nope.
what's on Fox News. She's going to tree lighting and having cocoa because it's a city.
Baltimore has great things to offer. I mean, in February, we'll actually be at the – so every event that we do, we tie a nonprofit in, which is really just makes – it's a really good feel-good, and we just feel that it's a nice way to give back. So in February, we're doing a tour of the Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital. And we'll have ladies there. We'll have a nice little breakfast. And they get to tour the hospital, and we'll benefit the hospital. We get $5 of our tickets back to whatever the nonprofit is. If there's an opportunity to have a collection or any type of drive, we're going to do a coat drive at the Pendry because it's cold. So we're going to do a coat drive for people in need of coats. It's just a nice way to support. There's so many amazing nonprofits out there. And we found that it's just been our way to give back. And we do all different nonprofits. This morning it was Cool Kids at Sunnyfield. So everybody took an ornament, and they're going to bring a present back for a child with cancer. So it's just been it's really nice for us to do that, and we feel great about that. That's just a whole other component to the event.
I love Cool Kids. I love all of these you talk about. I do a thing every year in February called A Cup of Super Bowl, and we do it for the food bank, Maryland Food Bank. And we feature nothing but charities for the week. So it's perfect.
Awesome.
Oh, I need to drink more Earl Grey tea. I'm going to have to talk with John Shields about that.
Earl Grey's good.
Because I haven't had enough Earl Grey tea. Stacey Munsell is here. She is Ink and Numbers. She was my friend back when she worked at Baltimore Magazine. She sells advertising. Tell everybody about the publication and how they can buy advertising from you, too. What's the input for that, the name of the website to go to?
Okay, so we're Today Media Custom Communications.
Today Media Custom Communications. I want to get all that out. Okay.
And we actually, Today Media owns some city regional magazines. So and then the custom part is the visitor guides and membership guides. Most of our things are member-based. However, we do have a couple ancillary publications like Delaware Today. We have Delaware Lawyer. Part of our business is based in Delaware, outside of Baltimore.
Tax-free.
Yeah.
Tax-free.
So, if you're interested in any of those, we actually also look to do new publications. So we have been a business over 25 years doing these amazing pieces with advertising in them or without advertising. So if anybody's interested or needs a really niche publication, we can start it from scratch, which is amazing because
I already did the nasty newsletter. I can't start anything.
It's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to come up with a publication.
know this.
But we've done it for so long that if you're in a business that needs to have a really neat piece, whether it's supported with advertising or not, we can do it. We can also do anniversary books, which is something a lot of people don't know about us. So if you have an anniversary coming up, we can do a really nice hardback covered book
For the family.
for whatever your business is.
Okay.
So if you've got a business that's been a business 50 years and you want to celebrate it and put the pictures, we can actually
You
design
missed me.
that.
I did 25 last year. I'm at 26.
Darn.
They told me I can't celebrate 26.
We'll get you at 30. We'll get you at 30.
No, I got to get there first. You're counting on me making it 4 more years.
Yep.
Good luck for you. Stacey Munsell is here. We're going to wrap things up. We're doing a Maryland Crab Cake Tour. Lots of places. We're going to be at Fadley's next Wednesday. Our home away from home. We're going to be down at Amici's. I know they don't have a crab cake.
That's okay.
They have. It's more than okay.
food.
They're going to have meatballs and Bonnie Rotundo, and we're going to have baseball conversation as well. Some great guests. That's the 17th. The 18th, we're going to wrap things up for the holidays at Costas in Dundalk, and I'll have the Crab Imperial. I think Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Gina Shock of Dundalk is going to be joining us for that one. So, we have great guests. Good seeing you.
Good to see
Thanks
you.
for getting me
Thank
out with
you.
some Earl Grey. We're at Gertrude's at the
great.
BMA. They have row houses here. They have delicious food. John Shields, my cousin by marriage, is here for you, even on a cold day, and it's always free to get into the BMA, and I highly encourage folks to do that. All of it brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery, as well as Jiffy Lube Multi-Care. It is a bye week. We're going to get back after a lot of football happening with Luke. Luke is powered up by Jiffy Lube, as well as our friends at Royal Farms, real fresh, real fast. Signing off from the BMA and Gertrude's with my friend Stacey on behalf of my friend Dan Rodricks, as well as proprietor and cousin John Shields. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking Baltimore positive.